Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to cut a soda can so that you can make a mini lantern out of it, such as this one right here. So you take your soda can, after it's empty of course. Try to leave the little tab on top if you can. Try to keep it nice and tight, don't wiggle it a lot, because you can use that to hang your lantern with after the fact. And if it does come off, you can, do something else to hang it with, but it's just really handy. So you take your empty soda can and you're going to fill it with water. And you want to fill it about 1/2 inch from the top. And then you're going to put it in the freezer and freeze it. And the reason you're going to do this is because it makes it a whole lot easier to cut. I tried cutting it without doing that, and it is just a lot more difficult. The can bends in, and it's just really difficult to do it. These cans are incredibly thin nowadays, and so they're a little more difficult to work with than the heavier ones. So you're going to want to, again, fill it with water and freeze it. And you only want to do it to about 1/2 inch to the top, because it seems like if it's going to expand, of course, and if it hits the top, it can actually try to start splitting out the sides, even though there's a hole in the top. So just give it about 1/2 inch. And then after you take it out of the freezer, and as quickly as possible, because as it starts to melt, it actually gets harder to work with. Now, it's really cold, so I'm going to hold mine with a paper towel. Now, if you want to make sure that everything is extra even, you can take a cloth measuring tape and mark around here every 1/2 inch or so if you want. I tend to do things quickly, and so I'm just going to do it by eyeballing it. And I've actually already started making some cuts. I don't know if you can see those. And I do mine about 1/2 inch apart, and I'm going to start right at where the can starts to curve here and just go down to, I don't know, about 1/4 inch from the very bottom. So hold it in place, and you want to make sure you do a nice firm cut with an X-Acto knife or whatever type of sharp knife you're using, because you want to make sure it goes all the way through the can. If you don't cut it all the way through, then it makes it kind of difficult, and you got to fiddle with it after the fact to try and break apart the parts that are not, clean cut. So, I've gotten pretty good at just eyeballing it. So that's what I do at 1/2 inch. And I keep just going. Turn it and go around. If your hands get too cold, you can stop for a minute. Now, as you get to the end, you might find that it's getting a little bit, or the last two or the last one might be a little too thick or a little too thin. Just kind of look at it before you get there, and you can kind of judge if you need to adapt the last two cuts. In the whole scheme of things, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. So they're not exactly perfectly straight. There might be a little bit slanted, but in the end, it's not going to matter. So there it is. I've cut it all the way around. I saw to it that I cut it, clean through. And so now what you're going to do, set this in the sink and let it melt. You can run hot water on it if you want, or you can just let it sit in there until it's melted. Then you can dump it out, and then you're ready to move on to the next step of your mini soda can lantern. Okay. Here we've got our can after we let the ice thaw out of it, and we're ready to move on to the next part of making the lantern. This is the point when I would generally spray paint it. I'm not going to do it on this one as I show you how to shape it into the lantern, but you can spray paint it before or after. If you spray paint it after, you're going to get spray paint on the inside, and it's not going to be completely silver, but it doesn't actually show that much, so it's a personal choice. But this one I'm not going to spray paint. I'm just going to show you how to bend it into the lantern. And so we've let the ice thaw out. Now some of these you're going to invariably find that some of them didn't slice all the way through, no matter how hard you try. So to fix that, you can kind of push down and see very lightly which ones are all the way through. I'm going to stick a pair of scissors in here and try to gently separate the ones that didn't completely break apart, or that are still a little stuck together. And I've already done some of these already, actually, in the interest of time. But I still have a couple. You want to, again, be very gentle because of how thin this stuff is. Sometimes just bouncing it around will make them come apart. If not, you may have to do that kind of thing. You want to make sure they go all the way down to the ends where you cut them, so that when you fold it, it's nice and even. Okay, I think that one's looking pretty good. So now is the part where you bend it. And this is kind of the fun part. And all you're going to do is you're going to take it and gently squeeze it between your hands. Now you're going to notice as you squeeze it, some are going to pop in, some are going to pop out. You obviously want them all to pop out. So I'm going to bend it just a little bit, and then I'm going to try and hold it. And you'll probably have to do just like one side at a time. I'm going to try and pop up the ones that are going on the inside and make them come out. And then try to keep bending it so that they stay out. And it can be a little bit tricky to do, but certainly not impossible. All right. Oh, wow, that was easy. That's all of them. So now I'm going to gently press it. Don't do everything gently so that you don't get solid. You don't want solid creases in there. That kind of doesn't look good. So once you bend it enough, it kind of stays in that shape. And then you can bounce it around a little more until it's the shape that you want. Like I said, you want to keep your little tab on there if you can. And just gently, so it doesn't break off, pull it up. And then you've got something to hang with. So there's your lantern shape. Now you can put regular tea lights in here if you would like to. I choose to use these LED tea lights. You can get these at most dollar stores. They're really cheap. They have a switch on the bottom. I'm going to turn that on. You're going to want to put it on before you put it inside, obviously. And so then you're going to just slip it between one of these, and you're probably going to have to push one in and just very gently pop it in there. And you'll have to bounce it around to get it to be flat. And there is your tea light lantern.